All right, let's talk about business, but not in some boring textbook way. We're going to break down the entire thing right from the very beginning. We'll start with a super simple question, one you've definitely asked yourself before. And by the end of this, you'll actually get how our whole global economy is put together. So let's dive in.
I mean, we've all been there, right? Staring at something we really, really want, a new gadget, a vacation, whatever it is, and you just can't have it. Well, it turns out this isn't just about your bank account. It's actually a core principle that runs the whole world. And it really all boils down to two simple ideas. So on one side, you've got your needs. This is the basic stuff, the absolute must-haves to survive. Food, water, a roof over your head. But then you have your wants. And let's be real, our wants are basically infinite. That new smartphone, the fancy clothes, a trip around the world, I mean, the list just goes on and on and on.
Okay, so that's the million-dollar question, right? If we can dream up an endless list of things we want, why can't we just have them all? What's stopping us? Well, the answer is one of the biggest, most fundamental ideas in all of economics. It's a total game changer. And that one word is scarcity. It's as simple as that. The world just doesn't have enough stuff. Not enough time, not enough money, not enough raw materials to give everyone everything they could ever possibly want. And because of that one single fact, we are all forced to make choices every single day.
And here's the kicker. Every single choice you make comes with a hidden price. It's called opportunity cost. Think about it. If you decide to spend your evening studying, what did you give up? Maybe going to a movie with friends. That movie is your opportunity cost. For a company, if they build a huge new factory, maybe they had to give up on developing a cool new product. That's the key takeaway here. Every single decision is also a decision not to do something else.
So, we've got this massive problem. Unlimited wants, but limited resources. So what did we humans do? We came up with a pretty brilliant system to try and manage it all, to get the most out of what we've got. And that solution? Yep, it's business. You can think of a business as a kind of machine. It's specifically designed to take a bunch of basic ingredients, put them together, and spit out something on the other side, a product or a service that people like you and me actually want. So, what are these magic ingredients?
Okay, in the business world, they're called the factors of production. There are just 4 of them. The best way to think about it is like a recipe. You can't bake a cake without flour, eggs, and sugar, right? Well, you can't build a business without these 4 key ingredients. Let's go through them.
First up is land. Now, don't just think of a patch of dirt. In economics, land is way broader. It's basically all the natural resources that nature gives us for free. We're talking oil from the ground, timber from forests, water from rivers, you name it. Ingredient number 2, labor. This one's pretty straightforward. It's the people. It's the brain power, the muscle, the sheer human effort that goes into creating anything. I mean, without people, nothing happens. Simple as that.
Third, we have capital. And again, this isn't just about money in the bank. Capital is all the stuff you need to make other stuff. It's the machinery in the factory, the computers in the office, the delivery vans on the road. All the man-made tools that help get the job done.
And last but not least, the secret sauce, the thing that brings it all together. Enterprise. This is that spark of an idea, the risk-taking, the vision of the entrepreneur. It's the person who looks at a pile of land, labor, and capital and says, hey, I know how to combine these in a new way to make something awesome. Without enterprise, the other 3 just sit there.
Okay, so we've got our 4 ingredients: land, labor, capital, enterprise. But you can't just throw them in a bowl and hope for the best, right? You have to combine them in a smart, efficient way. And that brings us to one of the most powerful concepts ever to hit the business world.
Just imagine for a second, you had to build a car, all by yourself, from scratch. You'd have to design it, go find the metal, figure out how to build an engine, put it all together. I mean, it would take you years, and let's be honest, the car would probably be terrible. It's just not an efficient way to do things.
So what's the solution? It's something called the division of labor. Instead of one person doing 100 different things, you break that huge, complicated job down into tiny, simple tasks. You have one person who only puts on the wheels all day. Another person just installs the steering wheel. Everyone gets really, really good at their one little piece of the puzzle. Now, this whole idea has some major pros and cons. The upside? You get crazy efficient. People get so good at their one job, they can do it in their sleep, which makes production faster and cheaper. The downside? Well, doing the same tiny task over and over and over can get mind-numbingly boring. And when people are bored, they're not very productive. Plus, what happens if your wheel guy calls in sick? The whole assembly line could just stop.
So, we've got businesses organizing all their ingredients and splitting up the work to get super efficient. But, so what? Why does any of this matter? It matters because, in the process, businesses do something that's almost like magic. They literally create value out of thin air. Let me show you what I mean.
All right, let's say a company goes out and buys a bunch of wood, some fabric, and a box of screws. Total cost? $10. At this point, it's just a pile of raw materials. Not very useful.
But then, they apply labor, they use their capital, their tools and machines, and guided by enterprise, they turn that $10 pile of stuff into a beautiful, finished chair. And they can sell that chair for, say, $80.
That difference, that $70, is what we call added value. This is the absolute core of how a business works. It's the financial engine. Now, that $70 isn't all profit, not by a long shot. That's the money the business uses to pay its workers, to pay the rent, to run ads, and then if they've done their job well, there's a little bit left over as profit.
Okay, so now we get the nuts and bolts of how a single business operates. Let's zoom out a bit. Let's look at the big picture. It turns out we can actually sort every business in the entire economy into just a few simple categories.
You can actually see the whole history of our economy by looking at which category was on top. For like thousands of years, almost everyone was in the primary sector, basically farming. Then, bam, the Industrial Revolution happens, and the secondary sector, making stuff in factories, explodes. And now, in most developed countries, the big one is the tertiary sector, services. That's where most of the action is.
So what are they? It's easy. The primary sector is all about getting stuff from the earth. Think farming, mining, fishing. The secondary sector takes all that raw stuff and manufactures things with it. Building cars, making clothes, that kind of thing. And the tertiary sector, they don't make a physical thing at all. They provide services. Your banker, your hairdresser, the hotel you stay at, that's all the tertiary sector.
And there's one last way to slice it up, and it's based on who owns the business and what their goal is. You've got the private sector. This is what you probably think of when you hear the word business. It's owned by regular people, by individuals, and its main goal is to make a profit. But then you have the public sector. This is owned by the government, and its goal isn't to make money, it's to provide services for all of us, things like schools, hospitals, and the fire department.
And there you have it. We started with that simple feeling of wanting something you can't have, and we ended up building the entire global economy. We covered scarcity, the 4 ingredients of any business, and how we organize everything into different sectors. These really are the fundamental building blocks of our world. So that leaves just one question for you. Now that you know how it all works, what problem would you solve? What business would you build?